And welcome back, everybody, to Bricks R Us. And it is that time of the year again. It's the end of the year. We've seen all of the Lego Star Wars sets now are officially released for the year. So we're going to go back through and pretty much tier them off, more or less rank them on which ones were the best, which ones were the worst, and some of them were just okay. We're going to go ahead and get the two doozies out of the way first. We're going to get the UCS sets into their own tier. They're awesome. UCS sets always have more detail, more put into them. So I don't like to fully rank them with everything else. It feels, if you rank them by UCS standards, then they sometimes might get too low, but they're still better than the ones ahead of them. It's just easier for me to keep them separate. So the Sail Barge and the TIE Fighter, awesome sets. They get their own category at the top. Next up, the Ambush on Mandalore Battle Pack, and we're going to start this off with a lukewarm to medium hot take. I'm throwing this one right into the A tier. The Imperial Commandos, I think, are awesome figures. I really like them, and I hope somehow we see them again in some way, shape, or form in Star Wars. I hate that we saw them for 1.5 episodes of Mandalorian Season 3. I hope that's not all. I hope we can see them more. I think they're awesome figures. The two Mandalorian fighters are awesome. The builds there, you can connect them. You could buy a bunch of them and connect them to make the rock work from the Mandalore battle. You can connect them to the Moff Gideon and Paz Vizsla pack too. And those see-through pieces with the curves on them. There's not a whole lot wrong with this set. The biggest issue is I feel like it came out like a year late. It should have been. I wish it came out closer to when Mandalorian Season 3 came out, but I love this battle pack. It's an awesome army builder to a T. Next up, we got the Bark Speeder Escape from Mandalorian Season 3. Kellerman Beck, awesome figure. I like getting a traditional red and white Bark Speeder here. I know we got the one from the 501st Battle Pack. I like getting this one for, if I'm not mistaken, the first time in a very long time. Two 501st Clone Troopers, cool. I know they have the hole warts on the side of the helmets. We also got the infamous lamppost. We're still going to put in the C tier. It's a little expensive. It's a goodish set. It's one you maybe buy one of. Like, I bought the one and it just kind of hangs out. So it's a fine set. There's not really anything wrong with it, but it's not exceptional. Next, we have the Crimson Firehawk in 4+ set. We're just putting this in the F tier. There's not a whole lot of reasons to buy it. I haven't seen the show, so I will admit that, but it does not appeal to me. It's expensive. There's not a lot of pieces. The figures are okay. There's just not a lot going here, so we're going to leave it there. Next, we got the buildable R2-D2, and this was a tough one because I really love the Darth Malak figure in there. I think they put him in there on purpose because they knew that'd be the best way to sell this. The R2-D2 is really good. It's better than the $240 quote-unquote UCS when they came out a couple of years ago. It's a very nice display piece. It's just not something that I normally get, so I'm going to put this one in the C tier as well because it is good. There's a lot to like about it. Just C tier feels fitting for it. Next up, we got the Clones versus Droids Battle Pack. I don't think I'm going to be surprised too many people. We're putting that in the A tier. You get so many minifigures, like 9 minifigures. You get the Tri-Droid, the staff. The droid side of it is impeccable. The biggest issue is that speeder for the clones is ugly and terrible, but you don't really buy it for that reason for the most part. You can, if you want to build a clone army, this is perfect. You want to build a droid army, this is perfect. If you don't like spending $30, you could sell the other half of it if you're just trying to load up on droids or vice versa. It's cheaper than if you got 2 separate battle packs at the normal price. There's so much to like. And the helmet holes on these ones in particular, on these plain ones, they don't look as bad. They're not good by any means, but the plain white and the Coruscant Guard ones, I don't think they stand out as bad as some of the other ones, but we'll talk about that at a different time. Next up, we got the Dark Falcon, and we're going to put it in B just because it looks cool and some of those figures are really wild. It's a little pricey. I think this should have been maybe 160, 150. I got 170, 180. It's fine. I like it. I didn't love Rebuild the Galaxy. I watched it and it was okay. The figures, the build, it's awesome. We're going to put it B. I think that's just a good fitting. Desert Skiff and Sarlacc Pit. If I did this on just price alone, it's going to the F tier because it's way overpriced. But the rest of it is good, so it will drop in the C tier. Honestly, if they should have just put 9 Nub in a different set and put this stuff in part of what Jabba's sail barge and made it $550 or add another $50 to it. Selling it separately for $80 is just absolutely insane, but we're going to leave that separate. Next up, we have the buildable droid kit, and everything wants me to put it in the F tier, but I also know like some of those builds are neat, and for the specific items, we're going to put it in the D tier. It does come with the 25th anniversary Leia figure, probably the least sought after of the figures potentially. So we're just going to put it in D tier. It's a fine set. It's just for a very specific audience, I think, and I am not that audience, so I'll stick it in the D tier. Next up, we got Boarding the Tantive 4, and this set is, let's just say, interesting. I really liked it. You get two stormtroopers, Darth Vader, two of the fleet troopers, and then the commander as well too, or the captain, excuse me. And you get the fives minifigure. You can army build it if you want. You could buy two of them. It's expensive though for an army builder, $55. I love it because it's also the very first scene in the history of Star Wars. So I am biased. I am biasedly putting it in the A tier. Once it goes on sale at like 45, it's going to be perfect. That would be the perfect cost spot for it. 53, 55 is a touch pricey, but it's still such a good set. I still really love it. You get 7 minifigures, which based on Lego Star Wars standards, and it's not a battle pack, that is pretty good. So next up, we got the buildable Droideka with the smaller minifigure size Droideka as well, which Lego still struggles to get that one right. That is one build that they have just struggled over the years to hit on. This buildable Droideka is awesome. I'm putting it in the B tier. The buildable one itself is just so cool. It rolls up. It's awesome. It's a really awesome display piece, and I love that they have a prequel Phantom Menace buildable set like this in the 25th anniversary of Phantom Menace and Lego Star Wars. They didn't gloss over, so I think that's a really good one. Next up, we got Ahsoka Tano's Battle on Peridia, a gray slab with some cool rock pieces that is incredibly too overpriced. I think it is also around $55. This is once again another one. The minifigure lineup carries it, $45. Okay, we'll deal with it. Thrawn is awesome. The Ahsoka is awesome. Morgan Elsbeth's okay. We get Ezra again. We're putting in B because the minifigure lineup's so good. You get a Death Trooper. If it's Captain Enoch, this might even be able to go into the A tier or be a lot closer. We're going to set it in the B tier for now just because the price is just a little bit too much for me. Next up, we got the MIDI scale Millennium Falcon. This one's also extremely overpriced, but it is such a very good build. I'm going to stick it in the B tier as well. It is a really nice display set. If it was $70, it might even crack the A tier. It's just a touch pricey for me. Next up, we got the Imperial Dropship and Rebel Speeder. This one was so close to being an A tier. I want to put it up there so bad because I love both. I love the Speeder and the Fleet Troopers. I love the Dropship. It's been one of my favorite all-time sets. I did a review on the 2019 one when I got it at a local Bricks and Minifigs. But this one just doesn't quite hit the same. I'm putting it at B because it's a $40 army builder, so it's not as good as up here where we have the Droid and Clones battle pack. I know the droids, they don't count as minifigures, different types of plastic, different molding, etc., whatever. Either way, this is a good set, but there's still a lot to be desired, in my opinion. Throw in the Shadow Trooper or take out one of the Stormtroopers and put in Shadow Trooper. It's just missing that little extra something there. I do like the 25th anniversary, the R2KT. Those who know the story behind that, it's really cool. Love to see that, but I can't put it higher than B at $40. Next up, we got the Imperial Star Destroyer, my favorite set of the year. I did my little preview on it when it first leaked. It actually was better in person than I thought. It's a touch small, but it's not as small as I thought it would be. Cal Kestis minifigure, 25th anniversary. Darth Vader, Stormtrooper. It could use another trooper or two, especially for how pricey it is. Love the open interior. It's one of those two. The way it's built, I feel like you could buy two of them and put them together and make an even larger one, like a wider one, longer one with the pieces they have. It's not outrageous to do so. It doesn't require like a full rebrickable, I don't think. I'm pretty sure someone's made a video on that. I'd be surprised if they didn't. But frankly, I love this set. It's my favorite set of the year so far. Even though this isn't ordered left or right, I want to put it at the front anyway. I think it's a really awesome set. Next up, we have the Invisible Hand, a MIDI scale set at $50 too. It's an awesome price. It even has the ability where I think you can actually, where it kind of separates a little bit, kind of like you saw in the movie when it split in half. We're putting this one in a high B tier as well. It's not left or right, but we're putting it up there just for fun anyway. I think the only thing missing was I know these MIDI scale sets don't come with a figure. It would be really cool if they threw a Grievous in there. Throw on the $10 Grievous tax, whatever it is. Then you could put in A tier just because we don't have any sets to get General Grievous in recently. So I think that would have been cool, but it's a really nice display set, and it's a prequel display set. It's nice to see them starting to show a little bit of love too with the prequel, so we're going to put that in the B tier. Jedi Bob Starfighter, one of the fan favorites of this year. Jedi Bob is really cool. It's cool to see him again. I know there's the controversy, put him in the Republic gunship, UCS set, etc., etc. I won't go over all that. Most of you have already heard it. As a whole, the starship is okay. The figure lineup's okay. It's a C set. It's a little expensive. It's neat. It's more or less just like, oh, that's cool. That's kind of where I have it at. Darth Maul Sith Infiltrator, missing a couple of minifigures. I think it really could use one or two more. It's a little expensive. It's a good build, not a great build. I simply got this one because Qui-Gon with the cloth piece And for Saw Gerrera, the Darth Maul figure is kind of ugly what they did to it. It's a C tier set for Saw Gerrera and the Qui-Gon, basically. I don't want to drop it in D tier. It's not that bad. So we're going to stick it in the C tier. Moff Gideon and Paz Vizsla's battle. This one's also a C tier set. Maybe that's a lukewarm take. I love the Moff Gideon figure. He is awesome. I'm so happy to get Moff Gideon in a not $170 light cruiser set. The helmet looks absolutely awesome. Paz Vizsla is a great figure. The Praetorian Guards are pretty good. The gate itself that they have there and the rock work and everything, it's awesome. And the fact that you connect it with the ambush on Mandalore Battle Pack, so much to like. But for $40 and you're missing a Praetorian Guard, it's I can't put it any higher than that. It's got to stick in the C tier for me. Right now, we're gonna copy and paste everything I said with that more or less, but for the pod race, MIDI scale set diorama. This is such a cool and good looking set, but it is $20 too expensive. It might even be $30 too expensive. It's a really cool display piece. If you can get it for like a 50% off, it's a home run. It's just so dramatically overpriced, in my opinion. I have to keep it lower. Next up, we got the Onyx Cinder, and I like the build. Until I see this show, I guess I won't get as invested into it, so we're going to put in C tier as well. The Lego set by itself is pretty good. I like it. The figures are neat. I just feel more comfortable with it there for now. Next up, we got the Phantom Menace Brickheads, and we're going to put this one in the D tier. No, we're not. We can't do that. We'll put in the C tier. I'm not a Brickheads guy, so I'm a little bit biased in that case. But I think it's a fine set. It is cool to get so many of the Brickheads. I just wish for the Phantom Menace 25th anniversary, we got more actual sets. Instead, like the Brickheads is neat, but it would have been cool to get the actual set with it. Next up, we got Phase 2 Commander Cody Brickhead. And in the same vein, not a huge Brickheads guy, but we're going to put this in the B tier because, frankly, they did such a good job on it. The build, the techniques, I really like what they did here. So we're going to put that in the B tier. Next up, we got Captain Rex's Y-Wing. It's a microfighter, so we're going to put it here in the D tier. I love getting Captain Rex for a cheap price, and I love the idea of these micro sets to get those named figures. I like the mechs. I like things like that to get named figures and not ridiculously expensive sets. I don't love that it is the exact same as the UCS Venator. I wish they did one thing different, maybe a slightly different head printing, take away the arm printing, just one thing different. The ammo patch is fine. It kind of actually matches what we saw in Ahsoka. I don't like the pauldron, the waistcape. Well, everyone's gone over it at nauseam. I'm putting it in a D because it is a microfighter. As much as I love it that we get Captain Rex in a cheap set, I don't like everything else kind of what's surrounding that. But anyway, next up we got the Tantive 4 MIDI scale set. We're going to put this in C tier as well. It's a really nice set. It's a little pricey. It's kind of the same vein as the Falcon, just not quite as cool as the Falcon in my opinion. So we're going to go and stick that right there. And then next we got the Luke Skywalker X-Wing mech. This is really cool, and this is in the same vein as what I was just talking about, getting those name figures in cheaper sets, and I love the mechs for that. The only problem is we got so many darn Luke Skywalkers. We don't need another one. There's just so many of them, and now we get another one here as well. An Anakin Starfighter mech would have been cool. Something like that, just a little bit more variety. And through all of this, after kind of looking through and seeing the imbalance that we have here, we're even going to go with a slightly more, I don't want to say lukewarm take. This one, depending on who you talk to, it might be a hot one. It might be a cold one. It all depends. But I'm actually going to drop the Kellerman Beck Speeder down to the D tier. The more I look at it, I don't love it. There's just not a whole lot that stands out. I like the Bark Speeder and Kellerman Beck. That is cool. But it is also $40. The lamppost is kind of goofy that it's in there. The 2 clone troopers are fine. It's just fine. And I'm just trying to unbalance the C tiers. When I look at the rest of the C tiers, I think it is a notch below. But this is what I have for my rankings of the 2024 LEGO Star Wars sets that have been released. Let us know down below what you think of the sets, which ones you think should be higher, which ones you should be lower, and kind of what you're thinking too, like which was your favorite. I want to hear that one too, because I think mine being the Star Destroyer might be, and then the Tantive 4 not far behind. I wonder if that is a similar thought or if others think differently, but go ahead and let us know down below what you think, and you already know the drill with the subscribe and like buttons. Go and hit those if you enjoyed. We'll see you all again next time.